What's going on, y'all? It is another day in the RV life. It's late at night, so I'm trying to keep my voice down. I wanted to record indoors, but Tanya's already got the girls to bed, and I've got neighbors right here, so I'm trying to keep it at a level that y'all can hear me without waking everybody up. So I wanted to talk to y'all today about what distances are you willing to go to get fresh produce, really to step up your grocery game, because the current place that we're at, it's a pretty far drive. I haven't been in a position yet like this where it's going to take me a long drive just to get some more of this. I thought there would always be something that would have these at a reasonable price. Not even a reasonable price. I'm okay with paying a little extra. You know, if this is 44 cents per pound at Walmart and 89 cents per pound at a local grocery store, okay, that's probably still cheaper than me driving 30 miles to get this. So how willing are you to drive a farther distance to get that? Sometimes you're going to wind up putting yourself into a position where you need to go greater distances. Sure, there's a Dollar General nearby, plus there is a grocery store nearby here, but it's not, they don't have the fresh produce. It blew my mind how little fresh produce they had. You can only survive so long. I mean, I suppose you can survive for a while, but if you want to stay remotely healthy, if you're eating a whole bunch of canned soups, ramen noodles, and frozen pizzas, it's going to be tough to stay healthy. And sure, there are alternatives in there. Canned beans are probably healthier, canned vegetables. You've got some options, but you know, I've really gotten addicted recently to putting lemons in my water, like getting a fresh squeezed lemon in my water. Do I sound like snooty and stuck up now? I don't know. I feel like we need a little bit better variety. Maybe there's like a fresh farmer's market that meets here on the weekends and we're just falling right between that time frame and we can't make it there for that. So we kind of bundled everything together today into a 30-mile drive. We had Tanya needed to go pick up a prescription at CVS Pharmacy. We're like, okay, well, there's a CVS right by a Walmart. We wanted to go see the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. We'll circle back to that in a minute. So we just kind of bundled everything together. Needed to stop by the bank. So like, okay, well, we'll wait till this day, and then we'll drive that great distance. We'll get diesel, just get everything done. Now, somebody who lives out in the country, there's a lot of people that are already very used to this. But if you live in the city and you're used to having, at the very least, a Walmart like nearby, all of a sudden you're 30 miles away from this kind of stuff, you're going to need to make some plans. You know, our last place we were at for a long time, we were stuck having to go over the ferry. But at least there, we had a grocery store that was getting fresh produce brought in. It was more expensive, but I didn't have to go riding on a ferry or take a 30-mile drive just to get it. So that is one of the things that you want to think about when you're making your plans for full-time RV living, when you're going into these places, making sure that there's ways for you to sustain your way of life so that you don't put yourself in a position where you're eating ramen noodles for 7 days. Some people might like that. Kaylin sure would. My wallet sure would. Tanya's kind of against eating ramen all the time because she read a number of stories where people went to the doctor with problems in their intestines and they found that the ramen wasn't fully digesting and staying down there. She also read something about, is it boba tea? Those things, those big balls that are like in the tea. Somebody wasn't passing those along and they were just staying with them. Things you might want to consider and look out for. So we limit our ramen consumption to twice a week to just try to keep it down. We do still tend to eat a lot of canned chili. For some odd reason, we love canned chili. That's something that Tanya's had to cut back on as we've been watching her sodium intake. And I've started to cut back on too, because I'm not having some of the same issues that Tanya's is having right now doesn't mean that they're not in my future. I might as well start cutting down the sodium too, right? Getting old is no fun. But Tanya's never gonna get old, right? She's 21 forever. I love you, Tanya. So we went into the town, Coleman, Alabama. Neat town, lots there. I was actually shocked there was a Chipotle there. I used to work for Chipotle, and back then Chipotles were only found in the big major cities. So to go and see a smaller city have a Chipotle, that's actually pretty cool. I was shocked. We wound up at a pizza buffet in Coleman that actually was pretty much a CiCi's Pizza that just, it's like they didn't want to be CiCi's anymore and they rebranded. It was decent. Going to a pizza buffet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon is not the best use of your time and money. Problem is they leave the pizzas out there way too long and they're old and crusty, and it's kind of disappointing. Probably would have been happier going to Chipotle. Yeah, Mom, come listen to this.
Not enough coins now. Please put coins.
It's like a Japanese vending machine trying to speak English.
Yeah. There's another one. Oh my god.
Not enough coins now. Please put coins.
Someone keeps losing the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs on the roof.
Dinosaur on the roof. One of the things I wanted to share with you though, and this is one of the things I've talked about with other RV life content creators, is I like to share what the grocery stores are like in different places. So we found this grocery store. It was WDG. There you go. WDG Warehouse something grocery. Yeah, somewhere in there. So I went in and I checked it out. It was pretty cool. Prices were a little bit higher than what you're used to at Walmart. Their selection was really good though. And it was like somebody was going through the aisles right before I got there and pulling everything forward, and it looked amazing, very well stocked, very well clean, but it also looked like it was built in the 70s. It was like I just went through a time capsule to go to this grocery store. But I walked around, I pulled out my cell phone and just recorded some of the aisles so that I could share it with y'all what that place looked like. I picked up a few items. They had Kaylin's favorite Progresso cream of mushroom soup, so I got her a couple cans of that stuff. And I didn't want to buy anything more because we were going to a movie. And I didn't want to have cold food sitting in the truck waiting for us. It's like, well, the cold food's going to have to wait for Walmart after the movie's over. So we went and saw the Super Mario Brothers movie today. The reason we backed out of Guardians of the Galaxy, two things actually. Tanya and I do not like scary movies. We especially don't like gory movies. So as I was paying attention to the previews and the trailers for this Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm bringing this up because if anybody knows me, they know that I love Star Wars. Not just we love Star Wars and we love Marvel. We've really enjoyed the movies in those franchises. But we're not willing to just go all out. We're not willing to sell ourselves out for whatever they produce. We're willing to pull back and take a look and make sure that what they're making is right for our family. So the movie looked like it was a little bit on the gory side, and some reviews came out. There's a website I like to use called pluggedin.com, and they will watch the movies and kind of rate them and give a rating. And they were like, yeah, this movie is pretty gory. And it went into details on some of the things that happened in this movie. And I'm like, I don't want to subject the girls to that, and I don't want to subject myself to that. And then on top of that, they decided that this was going to be the first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie where they dropped the F word. Like, I don't want to support that. I don't know why they feel that's important. So we're like, you know what? They're not getting our money. We're not going to go. We're curious to see how the characters that we've watched will progress. So Tanya and I decided we'll wait until it comes out on Disney Plus months down the road, and then we'll just fast forward through stuff we don't like. So we went to see Super Mario Brothers. I've heard great things about it. The girls have been pretty much begging to go see it, so we took them to it. I've been struggling lately with staying awake for kids' movies, and it was a bit of a struggle. But I've been playing Super Mario Brothers games since I was a kid, so it was pretty neat. I especially love the orchestra pieces of the music that if you've ever played a Super Mario Brothers game, you probably remember the music, and they had it to an orchestra, and I'm like, that's actually pretty good. They actually did a really good job. So it was fun. It was a much more wholesome, family-friendly movie to go watch. There you go. Just kind of laid out for you guys a little bit more about us. So anyway, if you're gonna do the RV life, question, how far are you willing to go to get your daily bananas and lemons? Because at some point, I suspect that's gonna come up, and it'll at least be a part of your planning process. So make sure you pay attention to that and add that to one of your checklists. Make sure we can get some healthy food while we're out there on the road without having to always put yourself in the middle of a city. You won't have to do that. We've been plenty of rural places that had great fresh produce. This has been the first one that's been a bit of a surprise. So there you go. Well, thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate every one of you for coming in here and watching our videos. We would love it if you give us a thumbs up. That helps YouTube to share our videos out with more people that haven't seen us before. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, we'd appreciate it. I do make daily videos, and if you don't want to get harassed by me with notifications, don't ring the bell. It's up to you. I'll leave that in your court. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, life happens, even a lack of bananas. Don't let it stop you. Stay fresh, cheese bags.